printer who tracks nothing loses everything but his temper. This is good.
Hey, printers, we've got Nick G, founder of printprofit.com, on the show. We are talking a lot about profitability, KPIs, things to measure in your shop, whether you're small or big. And it's a lot simpler than you may think. It really is. And Print Profit has, I've seen a really cool demo of it working at Long Beach. I've texted a few people that I know that use it, and there's some pretty neat insights. We'll talk about that and how that works. But really quickly, let's get into our partners who help put on the show every single week. And, Print Profit is right up there. So what I will say is that when I talk to a customer and I ask them what his favorite things to look at, he said top customers so that we could see what they're selling and the sales team can use it to be able to reach out, and real-time profitability every single day. So instead of having to wait till your books are closed to know how you did for that month, that previous month, because I'm sure it'll be a week into the next one, you can see it in real time. That's huge. So that's printprofit.com. Check it out. You can get a free one-on-one profit audit on your business, and it connects right into Printavo. So super, super cool. Multi-Craft Daddy. Oh, Multi-Craft Daddy. If you open Instagram, you type in multicraft_daddy, send him a DM because he's sending cool stuff out every single week, just like PMI tape and a bunch of other cool things. Multicraft screen printing and digital supplies have been around for over 50 years, providing top brands at competitive pricing to our industry. Also, Multicraft Daddy's been putting out some pretty funny memes, so check that out on his Instagram account too. And thank you, Multicraft. We appreciate the support. Easy Way. If you're spending hours cleaning screens, that's a thing of the past with Easy Way screen printing and screen cleaning chemicals. Their innovative formulas are designed to work quickly and effectively, so you can spend less time cleaning and more time creating. Plus, Easy Way is passionate about empowering printers at all levels. Honestly, go to easyway.com, check out all their resources, crazy amount of downloadables and things to read. Very, very helpful. Thank you, Easy Way. GraphX Source. GraphX Source, another great partner that plug and plays with Printavo and other shop management softwares when it comes to SEPs, mockups, creative art, order management, digitizing, back office admin, and all that good stuff. GraphXSource.com has been around for 40 plus years doing it. Campus Inc. has, I believe, 4 artists that are helping him do a lot of that on the back end and just being super, super efficient there. Hit them up. Use Printavo Pod 24 to try out a vector, SEP, or digitized order. Last but not least, DGIapparel.com. What school did DGI's engineers go to? MIT. What was their background? In screen printing. Love that combo. DGI connects your accounts from Sanmar, Alphabet, or SNS, and a bunch of others to help compare pricing, inventory, and ship times across suppliers. Not only that, they also plug in with Printavo now, which is so cool to be able to make purchasing that much easier. So you can save a lot of time with purchasing, and that is huge because then you can just eat pizza or play pickleball or, I don't know, watch the Kardashians. So DGIapparel.com is always free for shops to use, and it costs you $0. They've worked with a lot of shops now that are handling their purchasing through DGI Apparel. Check them out. All right, let's jump into the show.
It's a Friday afternoon. We're recording. We got Nick G from Print Profit. Nick, how do you pronounce your last name? You're just Nick G in my phone.
I've misspelled my own last name for years. It's Gowerluck, Ukrainian last name. Gowerluck.
Gotcha. And for those that don't know, Nick is the Print Profit guru. I think we had you on the podcast 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago?
It's been a little bit.
And now you've got a solution for the industry. You've got a bunch of users. You're kind of a famous dude. You're also sponsoring the podcast. Look at you.
Yeah, partner, which is awesome.
So cute. Look at you. You're growing up so fast on us.
I texted someone this morning and I said, hey, I see you use Print Profit. What's the most important thing that you like? And he goes, the ability to see the top customers at any time of the month and what they're buying, so that if you could target them, it's easy with your sales team to do so. That's my favorite for the sales rep. My favorite probably is just the ability to see a snapshot of the month and see where we're going to be profitable and by how much, according to Printavo jobs in Q. That's really cool, right? So instead of kind of hoping and checking the bank account at the end of the month, they're able to see profitability in real time.
Game changer, because we're working really hard and to cross our fingers and wait to see what QuickBook tells us weeks after the game's over. Can't change anything. So whether for better or for worse, seeing how are we going to end up, it at least gives you a chance to change the result if you're not happy with it, and that's half the game.
You have a great one-liner, Stephen. I don't remember if you heard this from the last episode, but Nick said, be careful with the race to the bottom because you just might win it. I like that. Especially when you're trying to compete, you're trying to get scrappy, you're underbidding. You just might win that race. What was the inspiration for that?
I stole that quote from Seth Godin, marketing guru. He's written a lot of great books, but we know with our industry, apparel decorators especially, we're working hard with the best information we have, but a lot of us out there are running blind. And when prices are raced to the bottom, that's a dangerous game to be playing. So we know you got to be extremely careful and mindful, or you're going to win it. And where they say, play silly games, win silly prizes. And we don't want that outcome.
Nick, you are just the king of one-liners.
Yeah, exactly. I want this episode to help share the roadmap to profitability for a business. And that maybe they're profitable, but they're not sure. And so maybe it's transparency, or they aren't as much as they'd like to be, and they want to be more profitable on an annual basis. Print Profit uses the contribution margin theory. If you haven't seen that previous episode, could you give us just the synopsis of it? Like what's the 30-second view of using contribution margin to see how profitable you are month to month?
It's the simplest, most truthful way to look at your business. And let's do business 101 and hopefully under 30 seconds. You've got your overhead costs of the business. We call that your mountain. So regardless of however many shirts you sell, you got to cover those costs, right? And then the other half of it is every job that you produce. When you subtract really the core costs of that job, the blank, DTF, transfer, maybe pay a sales commission, but what's left over, it's like a thermometer. That's what you have to cover your fixed costs, your mountain, and get into sweet, sweet profit land. So it's very simple. It's the most honest and effective way to look at the business. And let's throw out all this guessing, crazy Excel files, Excel kung fu, and let's just go back to 101.
Yeah, I wanted to share this visual. It didn't hit me until I saw this. So if you're on YouTube, or move to YouTube just so you can see this. But this was a chart that I made, and hopefully it may help others too to just quickly get it. You've got, and tell me if this is wrong, Nick, at any point, but you've got the fixed costs for each month. That could be rent, utilities, ink, labor, owner's pay. What is the fixed amount? Don't get crazy with it. You like saying to try to simplify this as much as possible. If you're in doubt with where do I put this cost, simplify it. And then for every order, there's a variable cost. And so you, the total revenue minus the cost, the simple cost of goods on that order, that is the contribution that goes into filling up that bucket each month.
Yep. That's a great visual, whether it's the bucket or the mountain. It's the same concept, and it makes it very truthful, right? We need to cover this amount, and each job is helping or hurting that journey. So how do we put a strategy on top of it and go, right? But that's a really clean, simple structure to wrap your head around and use that as a basis to throw strategy on top of it.
And that's what they call in business covering the nut. Did you cover your nut?
Cover your nut, climb the mountain, insert analogy here.
A clean squeegee is a sign of a slow day.
Dude, you're coming up. All right. +1 one-liner.
Bruce, we're waiting on yours, my man.
+1 for Nick. Clipped. We got 1-1. I like it. Here we go.
DTF stands for Don't Talk Finances. Anyways,
0.5.
question, Nick. So you got your MBA in like profitability over on the other side of the world, and you're super smart. You came and did like your thesis, worked with us. So thank you. You're welcome. You obviously have helped some massive printing companies in the world, more on the offset side. Tell us about your journey to quitting your job and starting this company, Print Profit. And now it's like a tech platform. Like you got employees and like you're like a tech guy now. You're like Silicon Valley.
Yeah. Other than my wife, I remember that day I gave notice. I texted you guys like, I did it. I was sick to my stomach. I gave notice and here we go. But the journey was just, long story short, working around the world in our industry for small, medium, large, and seeing everywhere I went, didn't matter the continent, we all struggled to see profit clearly. So I said, there's got to be a better way. Left the big corporate job. And I said, I want to help our industry, bring this contribution thinking to life. And after doing a lot of traditional consulting work, I said, if I want to bring this to the masses, this has to be a software, a profitability software. It's not your shop management software. It's not your QuickBooks. It's something that doesn't exist and combines the two. So yeah, I had no idea I'd start a software company, but it's been a heck of a journey and starting to see some good traction and helping owners really see their business clearly. And that's what it's all about.
Damn. So like how many shops are using this now, if you're allowed to say? I mean, you just launched this like Print Hustlers, like you guys were kind of piloting it, right? Like, and then I want to get back into the profit talk, but just so shops know this and we can plug you. And then if you sign up, I can bug you for a free account. Keep going, Nick.
You heard it here. Really just launched a few months ago. We're in Europe and the US, 20 printing companies from $500 million to a one-person shop doing $200,000 in sales and in between. But that's my mission, right? I didn't want to build this to be a have and have not that just the big boys use. I want to help all shops of all different shapes and sizes. So I work with companies printing trading cards, billboards, books, cards, calendars, labels and packaging, apparel decorators. From a software perspective, it's all widgets. So it doesn't matter the shape or size. If you're putting ink on something, the software will help you.
Sweet.
That's pretty cool. $500 million company. And that's to help understand their profitability for their jobs or what?
Yeah. So even at that level, you're talking Ivy League executives, private equity involved in crazy growth. But I'm telling you, the big boys themselves are challenged to see profit clearly. So you can have all the data in the world, but if you can't make sense of it and have a path to, find that hidden opportunities, you're spinning your head just like small to medium-sized shops. So that's where you can step in and say, hey, all your nationwide printing companies that you own, let's put a profit engine behind it, see your business clearly, and grow wherever you're looking to go.
So let's just say a shop isn't using Print Profit yet. Maybe they will if it is podcast. What are the 2 or 3 things you have to measure in your business to know profitability? Like if you don't know these, why are you coming into work today? Like what are the North Star numbers that you must know and you must look at on a daily basis?
We're going to talk 3 metrics. One is your fixed costs, AKA your overhead. How you do it is simple. Print out your QuickBooks, get a highlighter color of your choice, and just go through, mark it up and add it, right? So that's your mountain. That's the nut you have to crack. The next big metric is the contribution dollars and percentages. So let's go back to the simple t-shirt. Sold it for $100. it cost you 50. The blank was half. You're left over with $50 of contribution to contribute to covering your overhead. And then that percentage would be 50%. So you take your contribution 50 divided by 100 what you sold it. And think of that like baking something. How much time and at what temperature? So with those three things, you are on an incredible path to getting to where you want to go. And Kevin Baumgart, don't hit me too hard on this, but I didn't mention sales even. And I love owners of shops who say, I don't give a you know what about sales. What I care about is the contribution. What's left over for me? So maybe we're getting a little controversial, not even talking about sales, but it's what's left over that we care about.
Easy,
and
bud.
Is that it? One, two, three.
Easy. He's gonna be fuming listening to this. He might punch right through the YouTube. You got to be careful. I'm just kidding.
What are the other KPIs that you want to measure? So we've got the fixed costs, like you said, we've got the contribution margin per order that we're adding up, which, you could do this manually and get started in an Excel sheet to understand the basics. But like, what are other good financial driven KPIs that you see are helpful?
And I know Stephen loves preaching about this, that cash is king. Like that's critical, right? Like you could be a profitable shop. Your P&L from QuickBooks shows a profit, but you could go out of business if the cash flow isn't there. So cash flow is also key of, is there more going in than coming out? And can you be sustainable and your accounts receivable? So let's just bucket that aside. We talked about the fixed costs and contribution. Then, the average order value, which we talk about a lot, that's extremely effective.
Who talks about that a lot? Is that on your little Dinky Rink app too? No, I'm just kidding. I haven't logged in yet, but I will. Talk to us about that. What are those things? Yeah. So you said AOV. Keep going.
Yeah. I'd really say you've got like the cash flow portion, your accounts receivable, making sure you're managing that well. We talked about the contribution side. And then I really think less is more in this case. There's so many metrics and data and we can get overwhelmed, but you want to talk about on one hand that's most impactful. We said it, those 3 or 4. And I think you are well focused and on the right path.
So when I work with shops, like on a coaching engagement, there's this exercise that we do every single week. And it's something my dad taught me really early on in business was, if you were going to shut your company down today, what would you have left over? And so essentially, I call it a financial snapshot. I don't know if you teach this. Bruce, have you heard of this before? It's basically like a real-time balance sheet. You do it at the same time every single week. And if you build this into your app, I told you it. Anyways,
we'll license it.
What do you mean by left? So leftover as in the money coming in from jobs you had already done?
Yeah. So let me run through it. So it's basically a spreadsheet, and the top of it is how much cash you have on hand right this second. You literally on Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. you check all your bank accounts and you know how much cash you have, right? Savings, checkings, whatever. Right below that is how much money is in transit. So credit card processing, whether it's Shopify, Stripe, Printavo payments. And that's essentially, if you were to take a picture of your business right now, that's how much hard cash you have. And then below that, you have accounts payable, where you have your credit cards. So credit card 1, credit card 2, credit card 3, and exactly what the balance is on those days. And then how much you owe Sanmar, SNS, and any house accounts. And an average of your payroll for that week, an average of your rent for that week, essentially an average of your fixed cost for that week. Like I would still have to pay payroll out this week. I would still have to pay rent out this week, right? And so those are essentially your expenses, right? So you have your cash, you have how much you owe people, and then below that is how much you need to receive. So who are you going to go knock on to get money? And that's essentially what your AR is. And you track it in your 60, 90, 30 days and anything that's current, right? And with those 3 numbers, if I have more cash than I have expenses, that's positive. But a lot of times what I'm seeing is negative cash positions where you owe more than you have and you need to collect quickly to be able to pay those expenses. And that would be like a negative cash cycle, meaning if you shut your business down today, you could be in trouble. And so I make my shops that I work with do that every single week. And then what's cool is you can start to track trends and be like, oh, look, our AR is steady, or our, when you take your cash minus your expenses plus your receivables, you should start to see that dollar sign go up. I don't know if you guys, it's a balance sheet. It's a living balance sheet is what it is, right? I'm not a CPA.
No, I think it's really good focus on the lifeblood of the business, which is cash, and having that discipline to look at both ways, what's coming in, what's going out. And I think that's a really simple method to follow. So I will gladly incorporate that into the app next week.
Great. And if anyone wants a template of that Google sheet, shoot me an email. I'm happy to send it over to you. It's very simple, but like I've been doing this for years, and it's the same every single week. And it's just a good litmus test of your business.
Nick, when people sign up and they get they get Printavo synced up, whatever, and they start using it the way it's supposed to be used for a month or two, what is the response? Like, I feel like there's got to be a lot of like, oh shit, or, oh, nice. Okay, good. What do you hear?
It's a mixture where, we can see the business with 20/20 vision, which is great. That's empowering. But what you might be seeing doesn't look so nice. So that can be challenging. But it's always a mixture. There's really clear areas to improve, areas where you say there's good things happening. How can we double down? And how it really works is Business 101 saying, where are you at today, profitability wise? Where do you want to go? And then what's our profit playbook to get there? And Steven's talked about this in past episodes of, I'll use a term that maybe sounds a little fancier, but like financially engineering a company. What we mean by that is saying, where you're at today, you want to get here. What levers do we have to pull? How hard and how many at the same time to get you where you want to be? And that's a really fun exercise. And typically with shops, we're talking at the sales level. I don't care about sales. I want to talk net profit. And sometimes the answer is we're going to get smaller in order to get more profitable. So it's really creative, but it's all about step one. Where are you at? Where do you want to go? And what's our playbook to help get you there? And I've found a lot of success with that.
Nick, shit on profit first for a little bit. Let's piss some other people off. What are your thoughts on that?
I've loved watching different podcast episodes, even when you guys had them on at Print Hustler. It didn't do anything for me. And I've read the book. That's just my experience take, but I don't know. It doesn't get me out of bed in the morning super fired up. I like the principle of sales, putting profit first, like that's great. But as a holistic system to run the business day in, day out, I've struggled with it.
What about the system doesn't work for you? And that's why you change the way that things work in Print Profit. Because I do think what it tackles that helps is the lack of self-control that we have to just dump money from point A to point B, as in like, oh yeah, I'll just go buy that thing. Or we had a huge month. Let's go hire this, or let's go do that. And then, when things are slow, it's not as good. But, maybe to your point too, it's because we don't have the full transparency of the contribution margin of how profitable the business is running. We're just seeing the cash at the end of the month and what that looks like. And I was doing the same with bench.co. Like I'd wait for the books to close and then we know how we did. And that was a week, 2 weeks, whatever after. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know, just some complexities around the different accounts and the flow, like the principle of, yes, we work hard. We do want to make a profit. Let's have that more at the forefront versus an afterthought. But I mean, I've run printing companies myself and I've just struggled and I haven't fully implemented it. So there's that, but I don't know. It's just something that it didn't hit home enough for me to want to try to bring to life. Steven, did you ever give it a go?
Hell yeah. Bruce was hot and bothered sitting in the front row. He almost had to call a doctor after 4 hours.
I liked it.
I liked it. Okay. Okay, here's where I think this differentiates. So profit first is for the non-disciplined business owner to hide money so that they physically don't spend it. And so there's a really cool bank called Mercury. Bruce, I wonder if we have a referral code. Bruce and I obviously started this new company, Fabric. We're starting bank accounts. And what we saw Mercury does, you can set up an unlimited amount of accounts and it sweeps money into the different channels. And so like we never see them. And it's really cool because it could be like, that is for this and this is for this. And it just hides it, literally hides it. And what I feel like happens in small business is when you have cash, you spend. And when you don't have cash, you're trying to push it out like the toothpaste, like you're scrapping for it, right? And so the reason I like print profit first for disciplinary reasons is it mentally gets you in this like habit building of, this is all I have. I put my taxes away. I put this away. I put this away. I know some shops that have grown really well. Now, the goal is to never have to get to that point if you're actually measuring it in real time, right? And that's where I think print profit is cool, is you have the visibility of it in real time where you don't have to worry about it and you know what dollars are actually profitable, right? And like actually seeing that mountain climb. But I don't know. I think they both have a lot of value. But I think they're definitely different and fundamental, right?
Nick, what do you think are some of the insights, adding customers last few years, seeing a bunch of data from orders and different types of customers? What have you learned from working with some shops that you can be like, hey, heads up, you guys just make sure to do this or that earlier?
Because you also help them and consult through this.
Yeah, it's really hands-on saying, all right, we did that playbook. We know where you want to go, and then let's actually help you get there. So looking at the numbers monthly, talking about strategy, doing experiments, and rinse and repeat. That's a big part of it.
You're kind of like a little bit of like a fractional CF, a fractional profit O.
The way I think about the software, it's kind of like your business co-pilot. And strategically where it's looking to go is saying, good morning, Bruce. This is where you're at. Here's your to-do list. Proactive alert here. These are who you need to reach out to, which is kind of in the realm of applying AI and that next level oversight of your business. Right now, print profit would be at like 1.0. That's more 2.0, but that's really the vision, to be like a fractional CFO software at a fraction of the price that helps support your business.
And if you do this right in real time every day, you don't care what your bookkeeper gives you at the end of the month.
You're telling them before they hand off to you, I already know what I did. And I'm not just counting like financial statements or QuickBooks. That's critical. But to your point, in real time, for better or for worse, how this movie ends. And you've got tools and strategies to influence the result. Bruce, to your question, we've processed over 1 million jobs so far in the software. Some high level things like Q1 has been really, really challenging around the country for shops of all different shapes and sizes. We know there's a lot of factors that go into it, and I'm probably not telling anyone something they didn't know. We're experiencing it. What else? I see looking at a lot of financial statements. I don't come across a shop often where their overhead costs are wildly out of what I would consider a proper range. Like they're spending way more than they should. I find more times than not, we're really running lean and mean. And it's just, we need more sales and the right kind of sales. And how can I fill my presses with the right sales?
Did you say sales?
I said the S word.
We love you, Kevin.
But you know what I mean? Like, I find more times than not, it's not like your mountain is way too high. You need to cut. We're already running lean and mean. We need to feed the beasts, right? So you are what you eat. So what type of customers, what type of jobs, what type of machines should I use? That's really where a lot of the secret sauce is from the data that I'm looking at. That's the part that we're trying to solve.
Do you feel like, and maybe this is a macro question on the small business, the small industry that we're in relies on repeat business and repeat customers, right? Like we are not outbound sellers. We're lucky for everything that comes our way. But if you were to look at a true growth marketing company, like a company that is all outbound, they know the price of acquiring a customer and retaining a customer. That's called customer acquisition cost and lifetime value of a customer. How do you look at that in our industry, knowing that it's such a relationship driven business? And because in other companies, you can say like, I'm willing to spend $500 to get a customer because I know they're going to bring me 10,000, whatever. And it's like, spend that much per Facebook ad or something, right? How do you look at especially in our industry, something that like I struggle to crack? And I'd be curious to hear from you, Nick, and then Bruce.
So kind of picking back to like all of that data, what have you seen? I see there's a treasure trove of opportunity to help shops see clearly their existing customers and where should they double down or maybe shy away from. So Stephen, like, who are my good or bad customers and industries and products? Like 101 defining that. And then we've got a part of the software called Order Genie, which is giving you insights like when do they order? What are they ordering? What are they not ordering? And that's a really easy way with the existing customer base to proactively go out and get their business and get more business, right? We haven't touched on the new business, but there's common traits you can say, who do I like and why? And how can I get more of it? And then the acquisition cost part, there's a lot of different strategies of what you use and how much you invest. Our software doesn't really touch into that too much, but it's more profit playbook, right? What do I like and why and how to get more?
Can you see in the software the customer profitability like that? Like a breakdown of positive contribution margin by customers?
We do it by job, customer industry, product, the process you use, DTG, DTF, screen, location, sales rep. I might be missing a few more, but it's called a profit cube, like a Rubik's cube, to slice and dice and have it down to a science. And then you say, what do I like and why? And go get more.
Cool. And like, is there, let's say you helping them on the consulting side with, all right, hey, these aren't profitable, orders and or customers. How are you helping them right the ship? Because it's harder to just cut a customer, especially if they've been with you a long time. It's harder to maybe raise them drastically. You might feel weird about doing that. What have you seen that works well?
Actually, I know so many shops who have pulled up Print Profit and showing the customer, look, this is a two-way street, right? This is a partnership. I am not making sufficient profit with your business. And we want to help support each other, right? Be viable. And for the livelihood of my business, you can see black and white. We need to raise prices in order to make this two-way profitable, meaningful relationship. So yeah, the software itself has been great to say with facts, with data, with numbers, here it is. And this is why we need to take these actions. But if you don't come to the table with something like that, it can be gut feeling, oh, this person's just being irrational. But numbers change the conversation.
Yeah. What have you seen, Stephen, especially with shops sub 1 million? Most people will have QuickBooks set up, and again, you're just seeing the cash at the end of the month type once books are closed. But what do you feel like are some of the gotchas there that a shop could start doing earlier, whether it's tracking a better KPI sooner, whether it's look for customers that have XYZ tendencies because they're just going to grow and be way bigger of a pain?
I think small businesses like under $1 million try to be too much of a superhero to their customers, and they try to do too much too soon to try and win that customer over out of like desperation a little bit. And so they end up giving really loose terms. They don't collect money up front. And they end up becoming a bank for their clients. So I think that's the big gotcha, is to be a very cash forward business, especially under $1 million, and to be really, really good about collecting that money up front. I think the biggest thing that I measure in my business is AOV, because that is my easiest indicator, and I can play a game in my head to know I need 100 orders with an AOV of $1,000 to do 100 grand. And I can either do that from one customer for $50,000 or 50, a blend of those two. And I look at those two things and collecting money really quickly and just making sure that I understand what my business costs to run every day. And if I do those things, kind of as Nick alluded to, that leads to a pretty happy business. I don't know. Does that answer your question? There's so many different ways
Nick,
you can go.
do people share this dashboard with their sales team? Or whoever's doing, maybe it's inbound, up, whatever it is?
I'd say it's about 50-50. The majority, it's more for the owners. And then the other half are bringing the whole team into it.
Yeah. We had a great conversation with John Gibbs at Logo Daddy yesterday, who I know uses Print Profit. And my gosh, so we were talking about transparency on the revenue and expenses side, but this would be incredible, right? Especially if you feel good about doing that with your team, which is more of a personal decision. But, having everyone aligned together like it's a temperature gauge to be able to hit the top of that thermometer and rally for each month, that seems powerful.
Yeah, it's trying to have the team rowing the boat in the same direction. And there's so many metrics, as we know. I find that shops who pick one that really serves a variety of the different roles, like contribution, that's also a key way to talk a similar language. And all different parts of the company influence it. Production, sales, accounting, finance, the owner, the leadership. So that's a big part of it, the culture, and how do you rally your team around the same strategy and KPI set. Easier said than done.
What are some of the new features coming out for Print Profit?
Yeah, really making it a business co-pilot that is telling you proactively what you need to know, where to focus, where's the hidden growth opportunities, and really moving from data to direction to done, meaning it just does it for you. That's the big vision. For me, a dashboard is a me too. Everyone and their mom has a dashboard. So what? The biggest lesson I've learned working with shops is if you don't make it clear what they need to do and actionable, none of this stuff matters. And I've really been humbled by that, where I've thought more complexity, more reports was more, you just lose people. So that's where the vision is. Good morning, Bruce. Here's your day.
Could you ask it questions like an AI thing?
We're working on that. Got some really smart interns.
That thing is, the ChatGPT right now is very, very manual to upload a CSV file of orders and order data, and then, tell it what all the columns mean, and then ask it questions. But the results are unbelievable. Now, maybe 10 to 20% are incorrect because that's just the error rate of AI with processing data. But, it's crazy to compare. One example is we were comparing data from, last year to this year's top customers and who's falling off as a customer, who's decreased in sales. And to be able to crunch that in 15, 20 seconds is powerful. So that would be, that would be incredible on Print Profit.
And the challenge is even to beat it just on a silver platter. This is what you need to know. This is what you need to do today. My favorite one-liner from a customer is a guy in Denmark, does labels. He said, Nick, I don't need another dashboard that tells me I suck. I know I don't have enough sales. I need you to tell me what can my team do today to improve that and actually move the needle. And that's been such a driver for me to push it to the next level.
Love it. All right. Printprofit. Oh,
I've got some Chinese proverbs for you that ChatGPT. He who discounts often shall weep quietly at month's end. Let's see. Ink flows like river. Profit flows like broken faucet.
All right. I don't know if I can give you a point for that one. Go on.
Empty dryer makes empty wallet. Man who buys cheap blank pays double in return. Printer who tracks nothing loses everything but his temper. Say yes to every job, and the gods of margin shall abandon you. This is good.
Oh boy.
Trust the process until the white underbase shifts. Ha! On that note, cut me off, Bruce.
He's cut off, but I think you won. I think you won the one-liners. Printprofit.com, Nick G. What's the Nick at printprofit.com if you have questions about this. You're already working with a bunch of shops. Plugs in really great to Printavo too, which is really cool. I've seen the demo at Long Beach. I was impressed. It's exciting. I'm pumped, especially with all the AI stuff and like the like, okay, here's your data, but yeah, like here's the action. Here's the top 3 things to do now. Is going to be pretty cool too. But
and to be clear, most of the shops that are listening to us are Printavo users. Print Profit integrates beautifully with Printavo, and I think a lot of what you've built, Nick, has been that integration, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's critical. It's whatever you use, we just bring it in.
Cool. It's been so cool, Nick, and I know we just give you a lot of shit sometimes, but it's been so cool to watch you come into the space, and I have to find the email that you sent me years ago to come be at all the trade shows and to come have a company here and to quit your full-time job and to do this and to give back to the industry. Thank you. And we'll obviously have to do this again. And yeah, it'll be fun. Congratulations on everything you've built.
Appreciate the support.
One of Steven's success students of quitting and going full-time or something. Pretty crazy, actually. All right, pronouncers, we appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you guys on next week's episode. Have an amazing one. Thanks so much for listening. Hopefully that was informative. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to hit the bell for notifications if you enjoyed this video. If you enjoy all the stuff we're putting out, it's really helpful. We love to just be able to see it. That means that we're doing a good job. To subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and hit the like button. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.